Hello viewers, welcome back to another episode on how to beat Beth Harmon. Now we're going to look at the third bot on chess.com. This one's 1600. This one should give us more resistance than the last two did, though I'm 2100 so I should still win. Let's get started. I don't need any help. Let's play. Okay, same as before. Bring pieces out, control the center. So now I'm defending my pawn here. Okay, this is all known. I think I'm supposed to play my knight out over here, if I'm recalling correctly. I've seen this before. My memory of all things is just kind of shaky right now. Yeah, I put the knight out. All very standard, so I bring the knight back because he's attacking my knight. So, one principle, if you have more space, and I have more territory here I can control, you don't want to trade pieces. That's because the side that's more cramped, in this case black, if you have a lot of pieces and not a lot of squares, they get in each other's way. So I don't want to help her coordinate her pieces. I want to keep her pieces all bottled up and interfering with each other. So now I bring out another piece and control some territory. Queen c7, I have not seen that before. So now we are on our own. So I'll just castle here. Like I said in the previous episode, you want to get your king out of the center because the center is where a lot of stuff happens, and bring your rook into the game. Knight d5 is a bit of a surprise to me. What you want to do is bring pieces out, and now she's moving around the same piece she's already brought out. So I probably expect to see something more like the bishop come out and preparing the castle. Not necessarily a bad idea though. Let's see, can I try to punish it somehow? Or is it just a reasonable move? So it does have some logic to it that you could bring the knight out over here, which would be a very nice square for the knight. So not total nonsense. I guess I'll file that under unusual but not necessarily bad. I'm not seeing a convincing knockout blow here. So one thing to watch out for, especially if you start thinking you're good at chess, is that if you see an unusual move, you might assume there must be some kind of knockout blow to punish it. There isn't always that there. Sometimes an unusual move is just that. And if you overreact, you can get yourself in trouble. So let's just not go crazy here trying to refute this. I'm just going to come here, bring my rook into the game, and also preparing a square for my bishop in case she wants to come out there with the knight. Okay, that was a surprise. It encouraged me to do a move that I was probably going to do anyways. Bring up a pawn up over here and now comes the tempo because it attacks the bishop. I'm not seeing anything wrong with that idea, so I'll just go for it. Okay, so you can see this is not entirely accurate play on her behalf. She played the bishop out, then brought it back. Could have brought the bishop there in one move. So she's giving this move with my pawn, c3. She's giving me that move for free. So it helps me out a little bit. Again, usual is not always bad. We don't have like a immediate knockout punch here. Let's not go crazy trying to overreact. I kind of like this idea. So now, if she castles, I just take this pawn for free. Okay, as a surprise. Usually, the pawn just comes up one square in this position, these kinds of positions rather. I haven't seen this position before. In these kinds of positions, you bring the pawn up one square, or bring the bishop out. The problem with playing the pawn up 2 squares is that black wants to play c5, but now if you play c5, it's going to just drop a pawn. But it does have a logic to it, though. So she's trying to keep her knight here anchored on d5, and without some kind of move like b5, it could play c4 at some point, just dislodge it. So she's trying to stop me from kicking her knight out. So there's a method to the madness. On the other hand, though, I can just play a4 and just swipe at that pawn and try to... What is that? She's just going to ignore and let me take a free pawn. I guess she gets a little bit of counterplay by pushing the h-pawn down and dislodging my knight here, but I think that's just a free pawn, folks. Okay, I'll take it. And now let's just bring our knight to the center. What is that? I thought she liked having knight on d5, but now she's moving it to a less active square. You want your pieces in the center, but now she's moving the piece away from the center. That looks like a very questionable decision to me. So what should we do? I'm thinking about just taking this pawn, but that could... She'll take with the queen, presumably. Then the queen and bishop could do some stuff in that diagonal. Maybe that's not entirely great after all. Oh, okay, let's do this. So we'll take it. And then, after she presumably recaptures, we'll come here. So, okay, so what I was trying to say before I got this surprising move again was that I'm trying to get to her king, and her bishop is one of the defenders of her king. And in particular, guards squares like this one here. It would be nice if I could put a knight on there someday. But she surprised me at playing this move f5. Why it surprised me is that that f-pawn is one of the king's guardians, and if you're pushing that guard further away, then it's going to weaken the king's defenses. So I don't think that's a very good decision on her part. So what should I do about it? I think I'll just continue as planned. Get rid of that bishop that was defending the king, and she tries taking my knight. I'll just take out the bishop and attack her queen. Oh, she's not going to take the bishop. Okay. Beth is full of surprises. I guess it's not as bad as it looks because I can't really save both my pieces. I have my knight under attack and also my bishop under attack. I can only move one piece at a time, so I don't think I can rescue everybody. So she's going to regain the piece she gave up. I'm going to come here. Check. She has come in. Do you think this check leads to something? Yes, it does. Check again. So she can't take it because my rook would put her king in check. So I just picked up another pawn. And our king is still under attack and trying to flee to safety. Now, my knight's under attack. What should we do about it? I do have to be a bit careful here. So the queen and bishop are lined up on this diagonal, and she could play h3 at some point to undermine my defenses there. And if I'm not careful, my king could get in some trouble. So let's try to make sure we don't fall for any traps like that. So that queen-bishop combination could do some damage. So maybe I'm best off just playing my bishop out here and trying to strengthen my defenses in that diagonal. If I play my bishop out here, she can't take my knight right away because I'm hitting her queen, and the queen's way more valuable than that knight. So I can toss that in before trying to figure out what I want to do with my knight. I guess I could take this pawn. My defenses do hold together on this diagonal, but it does look kind of shaky. I'm not sure I want to invite that. I am easily winning. I just don't want to make sure I don't blow it. It looks like it's just safest to play the bishop out here, like I was saying, and try to shut down that whole queen-bishop battery. Okay, she blocked it, so she still has her queen and bishop there, but my bishop is neutralizing them. So now I guess I'm less afraid of just taking this pawn because I have some more defenses now in this diagonal than I had before. Just trying to see if there's anything better, but this looks pretty good. So I'll just take a pawn. Okay, that's a surprise because rooks are more valuable than knights. So unless I'm missing something big here, and I don't think I am, I'm just going further ahead. Okay, she moved her queen. I'm not quite sure I see the purpose of that move. I'm not sure if it has a purpose. So what should I do next? How about I just bring my knight back to the center? Again, center is really important. And now she's bringing her king up into the center, which is not where kings want to go. I guess she is preparing to bring the rook out, hoping they'll do something. Okay, let's just come here, dislodge that knight, attacking my queen, but it's okay. Let's move the queen to safety. Trade bishops. Oh, another tip here. So when you're ahead in material, you want to trade pieces. And I'm way ahead in material. I have like an extra rook for a knight and a couple extra pawns. So I like to think of it as being like if you have more material, if you trade pieces, the ratio gets higher. Like if you have 5 against 4, that ratio is 1.25. You get then like 2 against 1, now you have twice as many pieces. So that's why you want to trade when you're ahead in material. So that's why I was okay with trading bishops. So now she's attacking my rook. I'll just bring my rook to safety. Bring my rook up or bring my rook back. I might want to reserve that square for the knight, so I'll just bring the rook back instead. Okay, this will be nasty. I'll just put my pawn up there, and then I'm attacking this pawn with the rook and the pawn, and also attacking that pawn down there, so she's pretty much busted now. Saving this pawn, but then let me just take that one. Think this check leads to something? Yes, it does. I'm attacking your king and your knight, so I'm going to win one of them. So there goes the knight. Brought the queen over. That gives me another free knight. Okay, I'll take it. Attacking my pawn, so I'll just play queen over here, attacking the rook and defending the pawn, doing two things at once. So now I got a rook for a pawn, and rooks are way more valuable than pawns, so that's another good trade for me. Not sure what that does. I'll just grab more free stuff. Okay, here's another tool you guys can use. This is called a pin. Well, I talked about pins earlier, so the queen could not move because her king would have been in check. So she moves the king away, and now I just get the queen for nothing. Intense stare. He cheated. No, I did not cheat. You guys are all witnesses. I played legal moves. This check does lead to something. It leads to checkmate. So Um, there is another example of being the Beth Harmon bot on chess.com. Hope you guys learned something, and maybe you'll do better in your next chess game. Take care.